The mag glove fizzled, spitting a blue spark against the rain-slicked glass. Knox grunted, his knuckles scraping the permacrete frame 100 stories above the neon-choked streets. The acid rain, a nightly baptism for the city, tasted of ozone and regret. Status. Ilara's voice was a calm island in the static of his earpiece. Contemplating a new career in subterranean excavation, Knox rasped, slamming his failing glove against the window. It caught, the electromagnet whining in protest. He hauled himself to the ledge and jammed a plasma cutter against the seal. Molten glass drooled down the pane like a single glowing tear. He slipped through the opening into a silence so profound it felt like a pressure change. The air in the penthouse was cold, filtered, and dead. It smelled of nothing. Below, the city was a circuit board of pulsing light, muted by the storm. He retracted his climbing gear, the cables coiling with a soft, expensive hiss. Ilara was waiting for him, a pale figure in the cavernous, white room. She wasn't what he'd expected. No trembling heiress. Her eyes, fixed on the center of the room, held a chilling resolve. "You're late, Knox." "Yes." "The weather doesn't check my schedule." He scanned the space. It was less a home and more a monument to emptiness. White marble floors, white walls, no art. Except for one thing. Floating in the dead center of the penthouse, suspended in a crackling containment field, was a perfect sphere of absolute blackness. It was no bigger than his fist, but it drank the light, bending the reflection of the room into a warped, sickly grin around its edge. "That's it?" Knox breathed, feeling an irrational cold seep into his bones. "The Omnicorp singularity?" "Easton calls it the null point," Ilara said, her gaze never leaving it. "It powers the entire city grid. He likes to keep it close, a reminder of his control." "Reminds me of a drain," Knox muttered, pulling a scanner from his belt. "All right, where's the data vault?" Ilara finally looked at him. "It's not data we're here for." She led him past the shimmering void, the slight gravitational tug a sickening lurch in his gut. She stopped before a seamless wall, placing her hand on a nearly invisible panel. A section slid open, revealing not a server bank but a small refrigerated vault. "Yes, my father collects trophies," she explained, her voice dropping. "Relics of the world he erased, the last of their kind." Inside, on a velvet pedestal, sat a small, lead-lined box. It looked ancient, mundane, utterly out of place. "You dragged me up 100 floors for a box?" Knox's patience was fraying. "I hired you for what's inside." Her fingers trembled as she keyed in the code. The lid lifted with a pneumatic sigh. Nestled in black satin were a dozen or so seeds. They were tiny, varied, some speckled, some smooth, some teardrop-shaped. They looked like pebbles, like nothing. Knox stared. He'd seen pictures in history archives. Before the Blight, before Omnicorp's synthetic nutrition paste became the only food. "Are they real? Viable?" she whispered, a word so full of hope it sounded like a prayer. "The last non-patented, unsequenced seeds on the planet, enough to start again." Suddenly, laser grids flared to life, caging them in a web of crimson light. A low hum vibrated up from the floor. "A pleasure to finally meet you, Knox." A smooth, disembodied voice echoed through the room. "Easton, I must say your reputation precedes you." "Yes. Though I'd hoped my daughter would have better taste in accomplices." Ilara snatched the box, her face a mask of defiance. "It's over, Father." "Over?" The voice was amused. A wall-sized screen flickered on, showing Easton's face, a portrait of serene, handsome authority. "My dear, it's this beginning. You see chaos in that box. I see disease, famine, weakness. I cured the world of nature. Why would you want to reinfect it? You built a sterile tomb." She shot back. "I built order." Easton's eyes on the screen settled on Knox. "A man of your talents could appreciate order. And the rewards it brings. Name your price. Leave the box and the girl. Walk away." Knox looked from the seeds in the box to the black hole twisting the light beside him. He thought of the gray faces in the ration queues, the perpetual chemical rain, the taste of nothing in the air. He'd been breathing in that tomb his whole life. He shook his head. The price is wrong. Easton's smile didn't falter, but his eyes went cold. A pity. The hum intensified. The gravitational pull from the singularity spiked. Yes. Knox's scanner flew from his belt, stretching like taffy as it spiraled into the blackness and vanished. A loose thread on his jacket unraveled, pulled toward the void. The very air seemed to thin. "The containment field is failing, Father. You'll tear the whole building apart." Ilara screamed over the rising shriek of tortured matter. "A necessary sacrifice to prune a weed," Easton's voice replied, distorted by the warping space. Knox grabbed Ilara's arm, trying to pull her toward the window. "We have to go, now!" But she wasn't looking at the exit. She was staring, mesmerized, at the null point. Her eyes were wide, not with fear, but with a terrifying, brilliant idea. "It takes," she murmured, her voice barely audible. "It unmakes everything it touches, sends it to a point of infinite density." "Ilara, this isn't the time for a physics lesson," Knox yelled, the marble floor groaning under their feet. "But a singularity isn't at an end, Knox. It's a beginning, a point of infinite potential." She wrenched her arm free and clutched the box of seeds to her chest. "My father thinks it's a drain, an incinerator, but what if it's a planter?" "Yes." Before he could process the madness in her words, she turned and ran, not away from the black hole, but directly towards it. "No!" Knox and the disembodied voice of Easton screamed as son. Ilara didn't hesitate. With a final desperate cry, she hurled the lead box into the containment field. It didn't stretch or spiral. For a heart-stopping second, it just hung there at the event horizon. Then it was gone. For a moment, there was only the shriek of the failing field. Then, a change. A flicker. The absolute blackness of the singularity pulsed, once, with a soft, impossible, viridian green light. Easton's face on the screen contorted in a rictus of pure rage. "What have you done?" The lights in the penthouse, the city, the entire world outside the window, went out. A total blackout. The scream of the singularity died, replaced by a profound echoing silence. Knox grabbed Ilara in the darkness, half carrying her as they scrambled back to the shattered window. They rappelled down in the sudden unnerving quiet, the only sounds their harsh breathing and the clicking of their gear. Yes, they hit the street level and melted into the crowds, who were staring, confused, at the darkened sky. The emergency lights began to flicker on, casting long, dancing shadows. And then they felt it, drops on their faces, soft, cool. Knox tilted his head back, letting the moisture run down his cheeks. It had no chemical taste, it was just water. For the first time in his life, he was feeling clean rain. Ilara tugged his sleeve, her eyes wide, pointing at the ground. There, in a hairline crack in the pavement, a pinprick of green light was glowing with soft luminescence. As they watched, a single pale sprout, impossibly delicate, pushed its way through the permacrete, unfurling 2 tiny leaves into the clean, quiet air. Ilara hadn't saved the seeds, she hadn't hidden them. She had planted them in the machine itself, infecting the sterile code of the city with the unkillable algorithm of life. Looking at that tiny, defiant sprout, Knox felt something he hadn't felt in a decade. It wasn't victory. Not yet. It was the first terrifying, beautiful tremor of hope. Yeah.